Welcome to EP003.
I wish you would not. It's
And
episode
yes,
three.
I'm going to do it like that each time. But we're setting the stage for episode 100 because, 100 has three digits or, three decimal places, whatever you want to call it.
It's digits.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's why you got to set the stage was like, welcome to episode 3. Today, we are talking about in-laws, right? So navigating in-laws and protecting your peace and honoring the family or the people that raise the person that you're married to and what that looks like. And so, yeah, Maisha.
Ooh, child. Blending families and
Yeah.
not just parents, but sisters and brothers and cousins and aunties and
Everybody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We gonna
get into it. Quick thoughts. What you got?
Quick thoughts. Ooh wee. It's hard enough to learn each other before you even make the decision to say I do, and then navigating engagement and navigating living together. But then when you put the extra layer on, like, not only are you navigating each other, you're navigating each other's families and like what that brings. And I'm sure like you have stories. I know I got stories,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get into a little bit of those, and just being able to navigate in-laws as a whole, but still like not being disrespectful, but also being respectful of our union that we've created, without ruffling too many feathers, but still staying true to ourselves. So yeah, we got.
It's a good episode, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, we gotta make sure we censor some stuff. For sure. All right. So, in-laws. So, like, we've been married 8 years now, and we've been dating, 16, 15, something like that. Years. And so, obviously, this is Nugget, y'all. Meet our cat, Nugget. Say, hey, Nugget. So, we've been dating a long time. We've been married a long time. And so our relationship with our in-laws has definitely changed. Of course, like our relationship with each other has definitely changed. And so for me, we kind of talked about this on another episode. Like, I feel like our upbringings are like very different. Like when you just look at like on a piece of paper, Maisha's an only child. Christian is one of 5. Christian's parents have been married 40 years. Maisha's mom is not married. Like the people in her family, like no one in her family is married besides Maisha. And so looking at like just how different that is, I will say like my relationship with your family in-laws has definitely like changed over time, particularly when we lived with your parents for an extended oh gosh,
It was like 7 months.
it was long enough. Okay.
Long enough, but it wasn't like it was 3 years.
It was extended, but
7 months.
For me, it was an extended period of time, just simply because I had never lived with anybody since like living with you, like even in college, like
right.
It was just very. I've been by myself, so it was just different. And so not only like was I in someone else's space for 7 months, but I was in my in-laws space for 7 months. And of course, like I have interactions with your parents, love them dearly, interactions with your siblings, your grandma, but like those interactions, like, all right, and then I'm gonna go home to my own place. And so having to be in their space for a time, like it really helped me to see them in a different light. It allowed them to see me in a different light. And so like they saw like I'm really funny. Like I know I'm a comedian. That's gonna be my career. But like seeing like that I'm funny, seeing that like I love my music loud, and so when I'm coming from work, I'm pulling up to the driveway, I'm thumping something. And so like those are things that I kind of told them, but like for them to see it in action. And I know initially like I was like, ooh, let me turn my music down because I'm pulling up to my in-laws house, or like, let me change the song what I'm listening to. But like after a while, like, no, this is me. Like y'all love me. You're gonna see me in a real deal. This is how I am. Like I might be thumping Kirk Franklin, I might be thumping Waka Flocka. Like it depends on the day how those children were. So I would definitely say like in those 7 months, it was extended time for me, Christian. But I will say like in those 7 months, I was able to kind of get a better understanding or just see particularly like my parent and my mother and father-in-law in a different light. And so that helped me to just feel like I could be a little bit more myself, and not have to feel like I have to filter things, because I mean, I live here, y'all see me, like I got crust boogers in my eyes. So yeah, with that, like being that you talked about like it's the rentals, but then like your mom's siblings have their own families, and then your dad has a lot of siblings, they have their own families. So like for you, I feel like you've had more experience with like expectations of like in-laws versus me is like it's me, Mario.
What? Okay, yes.
So like for you growing up, like you have your cousins and their family, and then this cousin, their family, and so like you've seen like in-laws interact and like expectations, like what that looks like versus me. Like my expectations is, you know, the movies that we see on TV, like the in-laws, the in-laws don't like the daughter-in-law, the in-laws don't like the son-in-law, or things like that. Or I've also seen like my, you know, got around to my best friend, like who's like my sister or whatever. And so like her parents are like my parents, and like she's married as well. And so her parents and his parents, like they like thick as thieves, like taking trips together, doing stuff together. And so for me, I'm like, oh, I wish I had that. Like they have so much fun together. And like I've hung out with them, like my mom, we've all hung out together, and it just meshes so well. And so I'm like, bro, that's not my reality. And so like the expectations versus the reality. So like,
but I mean, okay, so the reality is that your best friend, right? She's the only child.
I'm the only child.
Right. Her husband is, I believe he's one of two.
Yep.
And the other sibling, so your brother, basically your brother. Right. Your best friend's husband's your best friend's husband's sister is not married.
Right.
So in that family, there's one marriage of the children, if that makes sense. So Gabriana basically is the only marriage in the kids of the family.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I'm one of five. One of five, right? And obviously one of us, my brother, he's disabled. He's not married. But the other four of us are married. So my parents would have, what am I trying to say here? So I'm trying to do a numbers thing, basically, where, so my parents have four other sets of families that are married into the family.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the relationship you're talking about with how your best friend's mom and dad and her husband's mom and dad are like thick as thieves, like that's the only people that got to be thick as thieves with.
Yeah, I never thought about it like that.
My mom and dad would have to be thick as thieves with my oldest sister's mom and dad, my second oldest sister's mom and dad, my second oldest sister's spouse's mom and dad, my brother's spouse's mom and dad, and then your mom as well. So it's again a numbers thing here.
It's too many of y'all.
Everyone's not going to be hanging out with all the in-laws. Like it's just way too many.
It just looks so fun.
I'm sure it's fun, but that's not my point. It's just different. That kind of goes back to again what we're married into. Like everybody has different sets of circumstances. I just happen to come from a big family. You happen to come from a smaller family, and then the person you just happen to link up with and become best friends with also is the only child. So I mean, it's just,
we think it's thieves too.
Yeah, it's just different, and there's nothing wrong with it just being different.
But I think like that, like those differences, like because that's my experience or whatever, and of course, like our upbringing shapes who we are. Exactly. And so also like my upbringing, my experiences with my best friend, like that's my sister. And so like her getting married was a big thing, and then like his parents getting together, I'm like, oh, I want that, like it looks so fun. So yeah, speaking of the numbers and painting a picture and all that stuff, how like being that it's like 7 in my immediate family and 1,700 in your family, how like setting boundaries like has been a journey.
Yeah. So okay, setting boundaries, what that looks like
in a healthy way.
So I think this goes back again to our upbringings, right? I grew up in a family with a lot of marriages. So I've seen like my aunties, my cousins and their parents, right, married. On my mom's side, on my dad's side, both, like, marriage is like an important thing in our family, right? And so I've been blessed to be able to see what healthy marriage looks like and what healthy boundary setting looks like. Right? When things come up and we have, not we, but like I was watch my mom and dad, whatever, have conversations with their siblings about like, no, this is what we're doing, this is what we're not doing. Like, whether it be, I remember growing up and there were like certain things that my mom and dad would not let us watch on TV, right? And they would explain that to my grandmother, and my grandmother would respect it, right? Again, I was very young. I don't know if it was anything there, but if there was, I didn't see it, right? But either way, like, they would respect it. My uncles, aunts, we would go to my cousin's house and be like, hey, these are the rules that my mom and dad has set for the Reynolds kids. Like, you respect it or they just don't come over, and they respect it. And so that is a form of setting boundaries. Like, hey, this is what I expect. And the expectation would be for your aunts or uncle, whoever I'm sitting with, to respect it. And I've seen that. And so for me, setting boundaries and kind of being okay with like, this is what we're doing, this is what we're not doing, has come easy to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Because it's all about the numbers. It's the numbers. The pictures.
I mean, yeah. So again, it's a blessing, I would say, to have that, but it's been easier for me. Now, you tell me, has it been the same? Have you had the same experience?
No.
Okay.
I mean, to a certain extent, I think it just depends on certain things. Like, I could think of one time, this was early on when we were dating, and I remember your grandma. I love her dearly, but
don't be talking about my grandma.
Girl, you is all in my business.
Yes.
And so like this was like early on. Like we were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. Like, it was very early, and I remember her asking me, like, saying like, y'all having sex.
I remember that.
Time out.
Now, in fairness though,
what the hell are you on?
This was like date 3 or whatever it was, your graduation celebration from high school. Okay, Dad pulled me to the side, and not even pulled me to the side. He just came out like, so what, you sleeping with my daughter? I'm like, yo, I just met her like 2 days ago. What wasn't that? Well, it would have been like
5 months.
4 months. I'm like, nah, bro. But I didn't even answer him at the time. But I'm just like, Maisha, like, yo, you got to get him. Like, he was a little tipsy at the time too.
Yep, that's about right. But
so he was in his feelings for whatever reason.
Okay, so
but he came.
Yes, okay. So he did, and I believe you because I know my daddy. But also, like, when you look at it, like, my dad, like, I'm his daughter, like, I'm his princess or whatever like that. So, like, for him to ask you that question, like, I get it. But your grandma?
Same.
No.
Says who? No.
Says me.
Okay, but.
Says me. Like, if your mom had asked me that, like, I probably would have looked at her sideways too. But I think I would have been more prone to answer the question than your grandma. And then your grandma, she was just real spicy with, like, you walking different, you doing this. And you see me once or twice out of the year. This was
like what? This was.
It's like within the first year.
I know, but we were in college at the time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, she wasn't wrong though. Your dad was wrong.
And my dad
Your dad wasn't not wrong per se, but they were both wrong for asking the questions. Was my point.
Yes.
But at the time, we weren't. When your dad asked me, we weren't having sex.
We were not having sex. But I just feel like in that moment when your grandmother asked me, I feel like that was a boundary that she overstepped.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, I was like, you ain't even his mama. Like, not saying that, like, not being respectful to her, because of course I'm going to be respectful, but I just felt like that was a boundary that she shouldn't have crossed. And I remember later on, like, she did apologize for it or whatever. And I'm like, and so, like, that was the whole, like.
You like, what was that? What's that face?
What's the new trend thing the kids be doing? But yeah, I think like, I appreciate it. And I don't know if you had a conversation with her. You probably.
I did not.
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think I did.
I know I told you about it.
Yeah, you told me that she apologized. I
No,
don't think
I told you that she asked me that.
I was there when she asked you, Maisha. We at her house. I remember.
No, we were at your parents' house on the porch, and she asked me.
Oh, that's something different.
Yeah.
Then.
So, anyways, like for
See,
her to
now it's starting to blur.
her to y'all, we've been together a long time, but that's the immediate example that I think about, like with crossing boundaries or whatever. And like,
wait, just that. Now I want to know who was at my parents.
Yes,
What was the gathering?
I don't know, Christian. But she asked me. We was on the porch because your parents got that sitting down furniture.
Not that sitting down furniture.
Yeah.
Wait, real quick. What does she do with furniture besides sit on it, Mike? What's the sitting down?
I don't know. But she asked me, and like, yeah, I was like, first of all, that's none of your business. Second of all, you don't even know how I walk. You see me maybe once or twice in your life. Like, what are you saying? Like,
I wish I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember, like I said, we were at her house. We were going to visit her.
That was like later on. That was just me and you. We were much older, but like, no, early.
See, now it's
blurred. So yeah, that was definitely an immediate example that I can think of, like an in-law overstepping the boundaries. Like,
yeah. So I mean, I mentioned your dad asking me.
You gotta love my daddy. I love you, daddy.
But you see how the tone has changed. Anyway, going back to your dad, right? Or not just your dad. I think kind of in general, this may not be a good example. It's the best I have right now. So, like buying our house, right? At the time we bought it. And, the economy was what the economy was. And people was like, oh, you should be waiting to buy a house. You probably shouldn't. And just like,
mind your business.
Like, thank you for your input, but we going to do what we going to do based on what we know about.
What makes sense for us.
Yeah, what makes sense for us. Like, at the time, yes, the economy was the way it was. Interest rates were high. But, like, we needed a house. Like, we could have stayed.
Living at your parents' house was not
enough. But that wasn't even the reason. We was living at my parents' house because we were buying a house.
Yeah.
That's not even the same thing.
You're right.
My parents' house wasn't part of the conversation. The conversation or decision that we made to buy a house was, hey, we've been renting for, I think at the time, like 2 years now or whatever. And like it's costing us X amount of money to rent. And like this money we're never getting back. So if we can, like, let's try to buy a house. And we went down the route. We tried all the different things. And we ended up buying a house that was a new build. And interest rates was what it were. But it's whatever. Like, we needed a house. Like, we already had a house that we just, let's just say, for example, that a house that we didn't like so much. Like, oh, we want a new house. Like, we would have been staying in that old house we bought. But this was a case where we needed the thing because we didn't have it, right? And so, listening to family members, in-laws, whatever, opinions about the market and doing this and going that way. It's like, okay, cool. Like,
and
thank
why
you.
It costs this much and staying out far here, you can get a bigger house for that.
That's true.
Lesser money. Like, well, we don't want to be in the car.
Right. We don't want to be in the boondocks. Maisha's like being close to Maisha's job is important because she has to go to work. When she goes to work, which is obviously she gets the summers off, but she has to go into work every day. Like, I work from home for most of the week, and she doesn't have that luxury to do that. So being close to Maisha's job was a priority. So yeah, we're not moving out to the boondocks to get a bigger house. We don't want a bigger house. We want what
me, you, and the cat.
Right. We want the way we want it, and this is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna be okay. And yeah, again, like setting those boundaries with family, and not even seeing it as a bad thing, right? So not seeing the advice, and maybe sometimes the unwanted advice that people offer, like kind of reshaping your perspective of that. Like, okay,
they're just speaking from their experience.
Right, they're speaking from their experience, one, but also for good or bad, right? Like, that is a sign of love, right? They love us enough to share the things that they believe are, not red flags, but for lack of better words, right? That things that concerns them, and they also want the best for us. And so when you kind of think of it that way, it does make it a little bit easier to say, okay, thank you for. You ain't gotta say thank you per se, but thank you for your feedback, and we gonna do what we gonna do regardless.
Right.
I mean, same thing with moving to Egypt too.
Yeah, my daddy was not for that. So we'll talk about that in a future episode. But yes, we did make the decision to move out of the country to Egypt, sight unseen.
Sight unseen.
After our first year of marriage, and my daddy was not for it. My daddy said, "You gonna do what now?" I said, "Yeah, Daddy, I got a job in Egypt. You gonna visit before?" No.
Nope.
And my daddy, he was not with it, but of course, like
and so it goes back to the love. That's a form of him loving you and concern. Yeah. Like, where's this boy taking my
and
my
it wasn't even Christian. It was me.
Right.
It was me.
Let's talk about growth, Maisha, right? And how, I guess, from then into now, how we've grown and been able to love our in-laws, right? Our spouses, family, over time, even when like things have been tough or difficult.
I think for me, because I love you so much, so deeply, like I know that just comes with the territory. And so, of course, like in-laws, like they said, when you marry somebody, you're not only marrying them, you're marrying their family as well. And so, like, for me, accepting and like trying to get better, or just like accepting people for who they are and loving them anyways. So, like, there are things and ways that like I might not like or that it might make me uncomfortable, or like might make me roll my eyes a little bit hard. And so just choosing to like accept them for who they are and loving them, even though things may get under my skin, right? or be different or whatever. And I just of course like want to make sure that I'm not so much making you happy or whatever, but like making sure that I'm still showing the love that I have for you is like also shown to your family as well, to not make you feel a type of way because I feel a type of way because things are different, or like people get on my nerves or whatever like that. So just working to just accept them for who they are.
Mm-hmm. You gonna get some examples? You got some?
I have plenty of examples, but the most recent example was Christmas. So,
Christmas is 2024, right?
Your brother, he hadn't been home for, the holidays in some time, and then they surprised your parents that it was going to come, and then it turned into a huge thing, and your mom wanted to take pictures, and Christian, you being anal about, like, what the lighting looked like, the stuff in the house.
We're taking professional photos. It's got to be professional looking.
So you suggested our house, and I was already on edge about the whole gathering as a whole because it's me by myself.
Well, real quick, we gotta make sure we explain what "it's me" means, okay? So for those who don't know Maisha, right? Maisha is very particular when it comes to time, right? She's definitely the child of a military person because she's super like adamant about being places at a certain time. If an event starts at 5:00, she wants to show up at 4:45. She wants to be in the parking lot at 4:45 if possible. She don't want to show up at 5:05 because that's tacky.
It is tacky.
That's tacky. You can't. We ain't gonna be late. We gonna be.
That's how I sound.
That's how you sound. Okay. In my head sometimes.
Yes, I'm very particular. I'm very anal about time because I just feel like.
And we can have a whole episode about like
and add it to the list because the way I feel like when somebody it's certain events like a cookout from 2 to whatever, you show up 3 blah 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 blah, but it's certain things like a wedding, a baby shower, or a surprise party, a Christmas dinner, not like gathering, we going to mama's house, like a dinner.
Mama?
I don't know. Like, but it's certain things, like if this is start time, like you need to get there at that time or within 10-15 minutes of the start time. And so if you live X amount of minutes away from the place, you live in Atlanta, you need to give about 15-20 minutes for a buffer. You got to get you ready, your husband ready, your wife ready, your kids ready, the dog ready, the cat, whoever, just plan ahead. Yeah. You lay out your outfits the night before, get the bags together like it's just because it just makes sense in my head.
Right, in your head.
Yes. And so we're different on that. Me and my in-laws, very different on that level. So fast forward, we gave the context. Fast forward Christmas. Christian volunteered our home for pictures.
Stop. Christian didn't volunteer our home without speaking to you.
You're
first.
Right. We had a conversation about it,
and you said,
and I said yes, but deep down I wanted to say no. But there goes again. I really love Christian. I want to, not be the Scrooge.
Okay, but Christian came to you first.
You did have a communication. So yes,
of course I did, and you said yes. if you didn't want to say yes, you should have never said yes.
And that's another thing that I'm working on too. That's the people pleasing stuff too. Whatever. Okay. So
continue.
It's a whole thing. Anywho, we decided we're gonna have it at our house, open it up, and so if you gonna do it at my house, we finna do it at my house. We decorated, rearranged. I got catering the food because we not doing. His siblings wanted to, you make this. We ain't doing it because if we gonna have brunch and ain't no grits with the bacon, I'm gonna be pissed. We not. Send the money.
Why you talk? What is this?
Send the money.
Why are we doing gun signs?
Send the money. Maisha's gonna arrange for our caterer to bring the food here. That way we know it's on time. And so it was just a lot. And then, it was a lot for me.
It was a
lot.
And
then Christian,
what did I do?
You decide. Oh, our church does a nativity scene. Let's do that. That right there, I was opposed to, and I said that because church, like our church, they do the nativity scene, and like that, since we've come back to the States, like that's become our family, me and you tradition, like for Christmas service, and we go on Saturday or we go the day before the actual Christmas service because the CMEs be there and they be packing on. We want to deal with that. I want to get it all in. So like that was an added layer to the Christmas gathering, which made me even more on edge. It was a lot. And I knew all that going into it. And so the whole question was the whole growth thing. And so because I know they're not timely people, because I know, it's a whole production to get them somewhere.
It was a lot, but it wasn't just, it was church first. It was the pictures for Christmas,
right?
Yes. And then it was my mom. We were celebrating my mom and dad's 40th wedding anniversary too. So we had a lot of things we were trying to do on one day because again, it's a lot of us. My brother's in town. He lives in California, whatever. So
yeah,
it was a lot going on.
Also, like for me, like we did do a good job of like having a sibling call meeting or whatever. So like we didn't lay the plan out. We know what the plan is.
But I feel like that makes it worse for you. Like if there's a plan and y'all still late, that's what makes you.
Yes.
Yeah, it can be a lot sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so my turn, right?
I love them though. I love y'all.
I'm trying to think. So the dynamic I have with your family, a lot of it comes down to I'm always wanting to make sure that I'm setting a good example. And so, like you mentioned, many times before about like how you're the only one in the family that's married. Well, now we got Quan. Quan is married too. But like even with Quan, right? Like wanting to set.
Not a lot of men.
Right. That's another thing too. Good point. So before me, Quan was the only guy in your immediate family, right? And so now I got added to the mix as well. So just us two. And so I also wanted to set that example of like, okay, what does it look like to honor Maisha as her husband, right? And to honor her family as well. I'm always thinking about that, like the way I talk to grandma, the way I talk to your mom, the way I talk to your aunts, the way I not just talk to them, but like also interact with them. And wanting to just again make sure I'm always setting that example for Shay, for Quan, of like what does it mean to be a good husband and family, if you will, family man, for lack of better words, right? So the example I can think about was just a time where I had to like, okay, just love them for who they are, right? Would be, it was your aunt's birthday. We were at your mom's house.
Good time.
And karaoke, I believe, dancing, music, barbecue, whatever, right? And your auntie got really drunk. Like
it was her birthday.
It was her birthday, right? And she was drinking way too much, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm in the living room with her on the sofa. Well, I'm trying to set up the space, right? I know y'all can't see me. Our podcast listeners can't see me right now, but I'll do my best to explain it. I'm sitting where I'm sitting. She's to my right, and she's sitting down to my right on the sofa. We're both on like these like love seats, and she's to my right. And she comes in to the room, sits down, whatever. again, drunk. And she's mixing liquors and stuff. Like, not a good idea, yo. Like, don't do that. Like, come on. And I forgot what made me stand up. But, like, I saw her, like, kind of fall back. And so I stood up and put my hand on her shoulder, like, hey, like, you good? And then out of nowhere, she just throws up all over the floor. And I'm the only one over there. And I'm standing above her. She's sitting down. I'm sitting there. My hand on her. I grabbed her arm. That's what I did. My hand was on her shoulder. My hand was on her arm because she starts to fall backwards. I'm like, if she's throwing up, like she could like choke, right? So I grab her arm and pull her forward, and I'm holding her hand while she's just throwing up all on the floor. And I'm thinking in my head, like, how did I end up here? Like, why I gotta be the one? And I can't be like, ew, that's nasty. Like, I wanted to be just run and just leave her there. But I can't do that. Because, again, I'm the one that got to be, I have to, again, this is my way of like, okay, let me honor Maisha and her family, whatever. I'm going to be around. I'm not going to just leave my auntie here. I'm thinking about that more so than just thinking about, like, this is disgusting. Like, let me get away from this. And not only that I pull her close so she would not throw up, and somebody got on my new white shoes, but whatever. Like, I also, when she got done, we obviously, helped her up or whatever, took us to the bathroom. But guess who grabbing mops and, like, cleaning up the throw up on the floor? Me. That's the one. I'm doing that. I'm the one. And obviously, Corny or whatever, he helped me too. Whatever. That's his mama, so he come over, he helped me too. But I'm just not like, yo, this is nasty. I'm finna go in the back and be on my phone. Like, nah, like, this is Maisha's family. This is Auntie. I love her to death, so I'm going to be here. And because it just happened to be where I'm the one that's right here, I'm going to be here. So, yeah, through it all, through the hard times, we love the people who made us us. I like that. Yes, we love the people who made us us.
Us in real life. So, Christian.
Yes.
We have a lot of experience, and we only touched on the surface. What advice or what would you tell someone who's newly married and struggling with their in-laws?
I mean, what we just said, you already said it. Like, we love the ones who made us us. Okay, so I will say this. For our families, right? My family, your family, it's been both ways. I can't think of too many times where, like, I've had, like, disrespectful interactions, or I feel like your father or your family has disrespected me. And I don't think they've ever felt that way about me as well. And I think it goes for you and my family too. And so it's not the same for everybody, right? Like, some people who could be married to someone and their family is just, whereas, like, the struggle is that it's not just the growing together and kind of learning to love each other. It's just like an actual struggle where, like, there's disrespect there. Possibly there is where one side is not open to hearing what the other person has to say, or they aren't being rational about the things that they're saying, or all of that different things. And so
you definitely got blessed with it.
Right,
so
we definitely did, yeah. In that case, man, that's tough, right? Like, what advice would I give? I would just say continue to love as best as you can, right? Because at the end of the day, like, love kind of heals all, as they say. And always stay true to the idea of, what God said in the Bible. Like, you when you become one, like, you truly become one. Like, that is your family now. And it doesn't mean you have to take your boundaries down. It doesn't mean you have to accept disrespect, right? Like, you can love someone from a distance, right?
I think I would say, like, communicate with your spouse. And so, like, yes, like, for us, you know how your family is. I know how my family is. I grew up with them. You grew up with them. And so if you're struggling with your in-laws, like, having that conversation with, like, the person that you're married with, and, like, of course, you might have strong feelings. And so, like, just make sure, like, when you're saying it in a loving way, like, I feel, this is my counselor thing. I feel this when you do this, or I feel this when grandma do this or grandpa say that, and just having a conversation with your spouse so that your spouse can know like how you're feeling, because your feelings are valid, but being able to communicate that with your spouse, and if that warrants your spouse having a conversation with their family or whatever, like whether it's mom, sister, whatever, like I think it would be better received from your spouse, knowing that you and your spouse are on a united front because you did communicate with them about whatever the issue may be.
And not just better received, but like that would be that spouse's responsibility, right? It's not, if you were having issues with my family and you came to me first about it, and like the issue was like a thing where like, no, like in this example, like my family was in the wrong, like it's not your place, not your place per se, but it's not, yeah, it's not your responsibility to check my family. It's my responsibility to do that, right? And same thing goes for you. Like I would expect you, if your family is being disrespectful to me, I would expect you to check my family.
You my family.
Yeah, you got it. I'm mixing myself up, but you get my point. I would expect you to check your family, and like that's very important, because at the end of the day, we all want to feel like our spouses have our back, right? If I'm going through something with your family and I'm expressing it to you, you're not doing anything about it, like that could be a problem.
Not
right?
Validating what you're saying.
Exactly.
And I think it's just that, like you said, communicating with the spouse
first,
but then also communicating with your family. Because if I bring an issue to you and then you do communicate it with your family, and your family like, well, I don't care, da 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 da, that's a you problem. Like we can tell someone something, but it's not up to us to dictate how they're gonna receive it. Like, that's you communicate it, and so you can't say you didn't know. So when we stop coming around, y'all invite us and we don't show up, you know why.
Right.
So
or you don't know why.
Or you don't know why. Or you don't know.
And it doesn't matter what if you know why not. But we already set the table. Yeah. As they say, the ball is in your court, and if you do something again, like, okay, first time, benefit of the doubt, we talk about it, we have it all hashed out. After that, it's like, no, we're not accepting this.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, child.
So yeah, that is the advice I would give to a newly married couple struggling with their in-laws.
All right, Christian. So let's play a little game before we head out. This is called Who's Most Likely to In-Laws Edition.
In-laws edition. Okay.
So we go to baby showers, bridal showers, weddings. They do who's more likely to do this. Raise a shoe. We ain't got no shoes. I don't even got no shoes on. But
this is a podcast.
And so it's a podcast. Yeah. Use your imagination. So I'll ask a question, and you can say you or me. We're not gonna call the family out. We're just gonna say Maisha or Christian. So that's the answer. So, all right. Who's most likely to need a pep talk before a family visit?
Maisha.
Me.
Yes, for sure. So I gotta be like, all right, but XYZ gonna be late. Like, it's just, they're gonna be late. Like, it's okay. Like, they're gonna be late. Or, hey, really, that's the thing for Maisha. Like, it's all about being on time. So everything evolves around time in Maisha's brain. So number one, definitely Maisha.
Okay, who's most likely to say we're not staying that long and still be the last to leave? Christian.
Yes.
Christian, because he's going to start a whole new conversation. But no, you remember that time? Da-da-da-da. Bruh, didn't we have a conversation that we weren't going to stay long, and then you start a conversation that's going to stir your family up, and we're the last to leave. Yeah. And we live the furthest away. I'm ready to go. All right.
You ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Who's most likely to miss a hint that it's time to wrap up the convo with someone's mom?
I don't know. Who is that?
You.
Me? How?
Yes. Cause I'd be like, okay, and maybe like not mom, like dad. I think you and your dad, y'all get going. I'm like, sure. Texting you. You ain't. You look at the text, but don't read the text, and you keep going with the conversation. I come over, rub your bag, Christian. All right. Who's most likely to forget which cousin belongs to which sibling?
Maisha.
Me, because it's just...
Again, my family is a lot bigger than hers. Yep. So we go to...
If it ain't the regulars that I see,
we go to...
I don't know who you are.
We went to my Uncle James, the Fluker house. And he's like, whose child is that? Whose son? Yeah. Because it's,
I don't know. And then
thing.
We don't see him often. So,
right.
Yeah. Okay. Who's most likely to accidentally start a debate at the family gathering?
Christian.
Yeah,
I love debating. I love having, not confrontation per se, but I like having conversations around like, hey, you have your point of view and explain your point of view. It's not so much about getting to right or wrong. It's just about being able to express the way you're thinking or about something. Because I can be very analytical, and we had those type of exercises a lot in my family growing up.
And like, I was talking to my dog and cat because it was just me and my baby dolls.
So yeah, that's
all right. Who's most likely to get volunteered for something without being asked first? Christian.
Yeah.
Christian will do it. And then,
Christian, he'll come over here and put these cameras up. Yeah, Christian, he'll come over here and fix your whatever.
Yeah. It's the son she never had.
Yeah.
Who's most likely to text you okay from across the room at a family event? Christian.
Yeah.
Because
I should be sitting down on her phone. But I think we both kind of do that. So sometimes I'll be at your family game. I'm just like, bro, I'm just on my phone looking at sports or whatever, looking at.
But it say to text you okay. You're going to text me.
You'll text me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so both of us. Who's most likely to get called out for not visiting enough? Definitely Christian.
Yeah.
Because we ain't seen your...
Well, I guess, yeah, it's different. It's
a number of stuff you get here. Since Christmas.
But I don't even talk to my parents. Like, so one thing about us is very different. Quick story. When me and Maisha first started dating, like, again, 18 years old, started dating, we go from my house, our first date was from my house to wherever we went. I think at Longhorn, first date, right? We leave, Maisha says, Mom, I'm leaving.
And my mama went,
wait. We leave, says I'm leaving. We get there, hey, we here. We leaving, the restaurant, go back home. Hey, we leaving. I'm just like, yo, what is all of this texting you doing?
But y'all, my mama didn't even live in Georgia.
Right. And so at first I was like, okay, this is kind of like, what is, like, I get because she didn't live in Georgia, right? It was like a safety thing. But then in my head, I'm like, if something do happen, what's she gonna do?
She gonna call the feds to come and get me.
I guess. But yeah, Maisha talked to her family, her mom.
Every day.
Way more than I talk. Like I talk
to my mama every day, multiple times a day. And now she got an iPhone, so we be on FaceTime.
Yeah, I call my mom because wasn't it Mother's Day? Yeah,
and
Mother's
I told him to call her.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah. It's 10:30 at night. I call my mom like, hey mom. I don't know. We just my family we don't have to be around each other that much. Like we know we love each other. We can we can get together. We
haven't seen Christian's parents since Christmas.
We haven't. Yeah, I've talked to them obviously, but I don't need to see them. I don't need to see them. I don't need to see really anybody that much besides you. Like, hey,
and like initially, I was just like, that's weird. But now I was just like, well, if Christian not pressed about seeing his
now it works out in your favor.
And nephews and sisters and brother and mom, okay, all right, I ain't gonna press it, and I'm okay with it. I am okay with that. All right, who's most likely to say we'll talk about it later with that look?
I think that'd be a me, I guess. With that look, like nah, because again, I'm very. Maybe this is not a game moment, but I'm very conscious of my surroundings, of what's going on around me, at least to a certain extent, right? So I'm like, nah, not the right time and place. Let's not do that right now. And I'll give my shit look, and she'll be like, okay, yeah, let's not.
And the last one. Who's most likely to forget the family drama and bring it up right in front of the wrong person? Christian.
Yeah, because
Christian don't be paying attention to half of the stuff I say, and he gonna forget that I already told him that they mad at each other about whatever, and he gonna bring it up.
Because let's talk about it. You mad? Let's talk about it, okay?
That's his debate stuff. We don't do that in my family, okay? We gonna come to the function. We gonna giddy up, boots on the ground, together. And then when we leave, we still gonna have an attitude. But while we together, we gonna be
now let's talk
together.
about it. Y'all mad at each other. Let's talk about it.
No, that ain't what we do.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, God.
I remember when you and your aunt wasn't on a good page, but we finna go to Egypt. I was like, no, we ain't having that. I'll call her myself. Meet us at the restaurant. Okay. Remember?
Because it was before the going away party.
Exactly. We ain't having that. I'll call up myself. Hey, auntie, we going to lunch or dinner or whatever it was.
We went to lunch.
And it was just us three. We gonna talk about this. Because we ain't finna be across the world and y'all got bad whatever. Nah, we ain't doing that. Let's talk about it.
That's why it helps to have someone that's different. You make me better, I make you better. Because it was up to me.
I'm all in y'all business now. We finna,
I see you when I see you playing.
You don't know what could happen to us when we over there. What could happen to your mama, your auntie when we over there. So we gonna leave on a good page.
That's why the Lord major for me.
We gonna talk about this.
All right, let's close this thing on out, okay? Because we've been here 75 hours. Close this thing on out. So we want to hear from y'all. We talked a lot. We've let y'all into our business without dropping tea, sipping tea. It's hot, all that. So we want to hear from y'all. DM us. Send us an email.
Yeah, let us know, how have you learned to navigate your in-laws? Like, what's your biggest wins? What are some of your funniest fails? Let us know. We want to hear. We want to see, the ways that other people are navigating life with their in-laws, because it's a big part of being married. Yeah.
And also, if you have questions for us, feel free to let us know those questions too, because we got stories. Days. We could do a part 2 episode on this. So yeah, let us know.
All right. So this has been episode 3.
Yes.
Of Us in Real Life.
Hope y'all enjoy the cameo of Nugget. That's our baby.
Yes, he's making his way.
Yep, he's very
into a lot of these videos.
But it's us in real life, and that's what he does. He's gonna insert himself.
And now it's about time for him to eat, so he's thinking like, "Hey, where's my food at?" So thank you for listening. Make sure you all follow us
at Christian and Maisha on Instagram, and Us in Real Life on TikTok and Instagram as well. We're gonna link it all in the show.
Yeah, it'll all be linked.
Yep.
Okay. Bye.